Welcome to the channel that serves up hot takes and pancakes. But I'm all out of pancakes. Today we're going to be ranking all 10 of the Saw franchise. Start the damn intro.
Jack-o'-lantern fucking laughing at me as I walk by. Couple calls me mocking, make me nervous, say I'm about to die. Do another beat, put it down, get my clout to rise. I'ma be a fantasies you can despise.
This is a franchise that I've actually started to come to enjoy. I used to absolutely hate this franchise. My experience with this franchise is I saw 1 and 2 in theaters, didn't care to see any more after that, so I didn't see 3 and 4. A friend drugged me to see 5, and I was super confused. Didn't watch the rest of them for years. When Saw 10 came out, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and watch the rest of them. And I have come to appreciate this franchise for what it is. So let's get into it. Number 10. In last place, we have Saw 5. The main issue I have with this is they take too much time trying to build up the story outside of the trap, the main trap. And it's just not interesting. This is one of the most boring of the Saw franchise. And even when they are in the trap, every single one is done and over with too fast. Except some of the traps are cool. It's just they spent too much time on the uninteresting parts of this movie. Number 9. Next up, we have Saw 3. I thought the concept for Saw 3 was actually pretty good. It has a very interesting concept. Some of the traps in this one are pretty good. I just felt that the movie was way too slow paced. And what a lot of you were going to see with this ranking is that most of the older films are a little too slow for me. I actually do like Saw 3. I liked Saw 5 as well, but this one I actually like a little bit more. It's still kind of boring. Number 8. Next up, we have Saw 2. This one has some really good traps in it. It focuses on a lot of the parts that I would want it to focus on. This is where I start actually really enjoying these movies, is from this point up. This is exactly what you would want from a Saw film. And I'm here for it. Number 7. And next we have Saw 6. I really enjoy Saw 6. I love a lot of the traps in this one. I love the twist at the end. This one almost made it higher, but it still has some flaws. And those flaws mostly deal with the stuff that is outside of the traps. The new Jigsaw just isn't impressive since the moment that you find out who he is. It's just, I wish that they would have done a little bit better with that part of it. Number 6. And here's where we're going to have a hot take. A hot take. At this point, it is Saw 1. I know a lot of people really think highly of this movie, and I do as well, but probably for a different reason. This movie is extremely boring to me. It is very difficult for me to make it through this movie, but I appreciate what it is, what it did for the genre, what James Wan accomplished with this film. Now, if you don't like this style of horror movie, which it's a give or take for me. I've grown to like it a lot more. I didn't really used to like it. I appreciate what it is. It's a turn your brain off type of subgenre. James Wan brought it to the forefront. This one is just feels more like a concept piece, like a little indie film, which it pretty much was. It's okay. I just do not prefer it over everything else above it. Number 5. Next on the list is Saw, the final chapter, or Saw 7. I really enjoy the concept of this, making a person that lied about themselves being in a trap to actually putting them into a trap. This one is just a whole lot of fun. You know, having Chester from Linkin Park in here is awesome to see. R.I.P. Chester. The way that the movie starts is very fun and interesting because of how public that he made it. Yeah, this is just a really fun movie. Number 4. Next on the list is Spiral. I appreciate that they tried the rebranding for the franchise with this, having the new killer and making the new killer its own thing instead of just trying to be Jigsaw. The hardest part of this movie is how inconsistent Chris Rock is with his acting. But the rest of the cast is actually really good in this movie. I have no issues with the rest of the cast. Just Chris Rock sometimes is enjoyable on screen, and then sometimes is not. I don't know what Chris Rock needs to do to fix it. But it just, every once in a while, it's just not great. But the kills in this movie are really interesting and fun to watch. And Sam Jackson is always a great time. Number 3. And now we have Jigsaw. I don't know what it is about this movie that I like so much. It keeps my attention the whole time. Maybe it's just because I'm a dumb idiot. I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with the pacing. The traps are pretty fun to watch, pretty interesting. They're not the best traps in the franchise, but I don't know. It keeps me watching the entire time. You have a brand new killer in this. I like the twist at the end. Yeah. It's just a fun movie for me. Number 2. And now for my penultimate of the Saw franchise. And if you've been paying attention, you can probably guess which one, because I'm sure everybody knows what the number 1 is. I'm sure. So my penultimate is Saw 4. Out of what could be considered the new trilogy of 4, 5, and 6, this is definitely my most favorite. It has some of my favorite traps. It has some of my favorite story in the Saw franchise. And then you have the lead up to the big reveal of who the new Jigsaw is, and which I thought was great in this movie. They just didn't follow through with it very well. It's more about trying to keep him from being a savior and saving the people in the traps instead of, which is his trap, which I thought was just a really neat idea in and of itself. Number 1. And now for my number 1, and I'm sure it comes as no surprise to anyone, but that is Saw X. And this is just a damn good movie. Just a damn good movie. It is a very well-made movie, unlike most, if not all, of the rest of the Saw franchise. Watching this movie, I actually forgot at a lot of points that I was watching a Saw movie. And of course, until it gets to the actual trap part of it. But it was just so good. I hope going forward they continue this trend and make really good movies. Hey, it can be about just torture and killing, but it can also have a really good story. And Saw X definitely accomplishes that. Anyway, that was my ranking for the Saw franchise. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Anyway, y'all have a good night, and I'll see you next time.